He is a former radio owner and host, and one of the most diverse DJs in Atlanta. Welcome to Ezzy Spotlight.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Ezzy Spotlight Podcast. And of course, guys, today I want to talk about what's happening in the US of A today. I really want to talk about it. I want to get it off my chest. And this is one of the reasons why I'm bringing back this podcast, is because, yes, I've seen a lot of conversation out there, but there are a lot of people who are scared to just talk. And I want to just focus briefly on the current situations that we're experiencing out here. And I want to say this to you guys. Those of you who are watching right now, I want you to look at this very carefully and share this information, okay? The reason why we're experiencing, or so many of us are experiencing, the situations that we're witnessing today is simply because of one thing. Americans tend to vote for people and for party. Let me say this one more time. Americans tend to vote for people and for party. Most people do not vote for policy. And that is what we're experiencing today. If we only focus on the bigger picture, the picture beyond the individual that we like so much, think about their mindset and their expectations on what they're going to do. Are they going to really represent you? Are they going to really put things in place too that is aligned with your principles or your expectations, or what you would like for your neighbors and for yourselves and for your family in your community? You have to vote for policy. It's like a woman who wants to have a great family, but because the dude is dressed up very nicely, they think he's soft. Or because he speaks proper, he's soft. And so she's going to choose that guy with a sagging pants on the street to just talk real rough, because she feels like she's going to be protected as a result of that. To find out that she gets pregnant, the guy leaves, she ends up like a single parent, and then she blames all men now for the decision that she's made, only because you didn't look at the bigger picture. Guys, we have to do better. We have to look beyond the now, look at the mindset, especially in a situation where we've seen the writing on the walls. I don't believe that people did not see a lot of these things happening, but because they didn't want a woman to be in charge at that time, they choose to go the opposite direction. And as a result, our friends, our families, our colleagues, our neighbors are all affected as a result of the people or the individuals that we voted for. And I'm saying we because we're all Americans, right? Now, that doesn't apply to everybody, but you guys know exactly who I'm talking to and who I'm talking about. Yes, I say we, but I'm just hypothetically saying, you know, if you didn't vote for what's happening right now, you know this doesn't apply to you. All right? I'm just making it clear. But what we're experiencing today, guys, is because as a result we voted for the individual and not for policy. And we have to change our mindset. Let's take, for example, this country is the most powerful country in the world, or one of the richest countries in the world, or it's a first world country. And we have so many people who are struggling to feed their families and whatnot. Yet, we're going to take millions of dollars to build a new portion, a new room in the White House, the ballroom. Now, How important is that? What do you have people who are homeless? People can't find jobs. People can't feed their families. And the list goes on. Do you think that the people that we have in charge right now is looking at it as a priority? Can you see it's all about living a legacy and about self? Because if that's the case, do you know what $400 million could do for the less fortunate people out there? I am just saying. It is heartbreaking just to look at the news every single day and see the things that we see every day. This is the only country where the police is not 100% our protectors. Law enforcement. And again, I'm not saying all police or all law enforcement. But when a cop shoots somebody and then the leaders of the organizations come out and say, well, that person is a terrorist or that person created that situation. Come on, man. Let's look at the situation in Minnesota where that lady got shot. Let me tell you guys something. I'm not a cop, but I worked with cop over the past 20 years. I've been in the court systems for the past 20 years. I've witnessed a lot of what happens in this courtroom over the past 20 years. I can tell you one thing for sure. No cop has been trained to step in front of a vehicle while someone is in the driver's seat, to come back and claim that their lives were in danger. When you get pulled over on the highway, on the streets, no cop approaches the vehicle from the front. No cop is going to stand in front of a vehicle with the engine running, talking about my life is in danger. Guys, if we cannot open our eyes and see what's going on, we have a problem, a major problem. But if we fail to let our voices be heard, and when we do have an opportunity to let our voice be heard, we choose the opposite side, or we choose otherwise because we don't like one individual. The policy is okay, but we don't like them because of the color of the skin or who they are as an individual. We have a problem, a major problem. And as Americans, we have to change our mindset. This is the only country where these things are happening. Furthermore, when this administration doesn't get what they want, they create a narrative to make it seem as though the individual or the government or the country of which is not cooperating with the demands or the requests is just bad. Let's look, for example, some of the Caribbean countries right now where they're not agreeing to take third-party deportees. And as a result of that, this current administration is going to talk about, well, this country is not a safe place. Are you freaking kidding me? For real? Tell me which country in the Caribbean is not as safe for an American to travel in comparison to what's happening in America today. Let's take, for example, Grenada. One cop shooting in how many years? One single cop shooting. And the cop did not even shoot the individual directly. Apparently the weapon ricocheted, the bullet ricocheted, and someone got shot and killed. But how often does that happen? How often does it happen? in comparison to what we experience here today. Not only are we experiencing law enforcement are hurting our own citizens, but we are hurting ourselves as well. So let's do the comparison. It's not safe to go there, or is it not safe to come here? I'm just saying, guys. See, a lot of people won't talk about these things. A lot of people are scared, you know. Maybe I should as well. But aren't we not looking at these things, or are we just looking at it and just not saying anything, or are we just scared? You know what I'm saying? No. We're going to continue to have opportunities to change that. But again, let me remind you guys very carefully. Policy is more important than the individual. If the individual's alignment or the individual thoughts does not align with your belief or what you expect, look otherwise. Sometimes you have to look beyond party lines and just look at policies. Policy is what happens. Policy is what makes the decisions. Policy is what they put in place. The Constitution, the policy. So stay woke. Let your voices be heard. And make smart and wise decisions.
He is a former radio owner and host, and one of the most diverse DJs in Atlanta. Welcome to Ezzy Spotlight.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they have done it again. And what did I say in my last episode, my last podcast episode? Guys, this is a real problem. But you know what's funny? The people who actually voted for this, I really wonder, how do they feel today? Like, for real, how do they feel today? If you guys are watching and you know you voted for this administration, how do you really feel when you see these things happening? Federal agents are shooting American citizens in the street for carrying a weapon when you are licensed to carry. And in some states that abolish the license to carry permit, now you can just walk around. What's going to happen when ICE get to those states? Like Georgia. And I was just having this conversation with some of my colleagues, and I said to them, guys, yes, you can carry, but you can't use it. Because guess what's going to happen? You guys going to either die or you're going to go to jail. And they look at me as though I was crazy. And then look what's happening in the streets. Look what's happening in Minnesota. Crazy things are happening. And I'm going back to the folks who voted for this administration. They're not coming out publicly and saying a word. They're quiet. You know what they're doing? They're hiding in the crowds in the protest to let the voices be heard. Because guess what? They cannot be seen by themselves saying things that they know that are right. They know that they have voted for this administration, so they can't come out and say, well, I voted for them and I'm sorry now. You can't do that. Because you're going to be looking stupid. But why can't we all see? Why couldn't we all see all these things happening? My question to the folks who are on the outside looking in, I'm talking about folks on the outside of the U.S., what do you guys really think about what's happening in this U.S. country today, in the U.S. of A? How do you guys feel? And that's not all. When this country puts out a statement to say that another country is not safe to travel, do we actually look in the mirror? I wonder, did we actually look in the mirror before we put out such a statement? Guys, this is crazy, man. And I feel terrible for the people who actually are victimized, people who actually lost their lives, their family members. And then the leaders of the administration would come out immediately with a conclusion that this individual was a domestic terrorist. Y'all make this shit make sense. I'm just saying. But why? Why do we have to experience these things? Now, I understand that you want to put certain things in place to address certain issues or certain concerns or certain laws and regulations that we have in place. Yes. But isn't there a better way to do this? Isn't there a more structured way to implement and enforce those laws? Which other country do we see this happening? And speaking about other countries, the thing about it is, if this is happening here, when we as the bullies go in other places, what do you think is happening when they don't have access to social media and internet services and Wi-Fi and all this stuff to post these things to the world? What do you think is happening? It's happening here, and it's being caught on video, and yet there's a whole different narrative of what just took place when the video shows something totally different. Whew. I never thought I would be seeing this, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And shame on those of you, and I'm putting this blame on solely on the folks who actually voted for this administration. I didn't, I don't care, but shame on you guys if you voted for this administration. And look what's happening today. Many of you guys are being victimized. Ironically, until something doesn't happen to someone closest to the people who are making decisions and coming to these conclusions, they're not going to stop. Look what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Until it hits close to home, well, this is the case, and this is what's happening, and this is what it is, and this is what's going to happen, unfortunately. But it doesn't have to go that far. It just doesn't. It can stop now. It can stop now. But I pray for those who have lost their lives, the families who are dealing with the innocent killings of their family members. And I hope we continue to be safe, to speak up. And like I said in my last episode, Americans don't vote for policy. They vote for individuals and they vote for the party. Yes. Once again, Americans do not vote for policies. They vote for individuals and they vote for the party. Yes. And they only got two, for the most part. Democrats, Republicans. This is why we see what we're seeing right now. And sometimes, guys, we have to look beyond the individual and the party and look what their principles are. What policies do you think they're going to implement? And the way they're going to implement those policies and enforce those laws. How will it affect you, me, and everyone else? Now, don't get me wrong. Our objective, our perspective, our point of views may be different, and I get it. But sometimes when they are, we still have to look at our neighbors. Okay, it doesn't affect me, but how will it affect them? And if you don't care, then so be it. Now, don't forget to check out the Ezzy Spotlight Podcast on all podcast platforms. It's available on YouTube, so make sure you follow and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And of course, it's also available on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon. And I'm going to see you on the next episode.